What's going on, Pokemon Go trainers? Welcome to episode 17 of the Lured Up Creator Series, the podcast bringing your favorite content creators to talk about their work, process, and the game that brings it all together, Pokemon Go. Lured Up is part of the Pokemon Professor Network, and today is Saturday, September, what is it? What is today? The 26th, 2020. I'm your host, Ken Pescatore, and this week we are very excited to be joined by DebbiePebble. What's up, Debbie?
Hello,
how are you?
Good morning. I'm well. How are you?
It's morning for you. It's nighttime for me. You're on the other side of the earth, and I love that technology can bring us together, and that you're able to join us, and you don't have to be up at like 4 a.m. like some of the Europeans that I've had on the show that are troopers. It's like you get a nice morning. It's Sunday morning for you, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's nice.
Absolutely. I've had my breakfast. I've been in the sun.
That's great.
I've put
well, thank you so much for spending your morning with me. I appreciate it.
It's perfect.
That's great. Well, why don't you take a moment to introduce yourself? Let us know where you're from and why it's breakfast time where you're at, and then we'll get into your content a bit.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm DebbiePebble. I go by Debbie. I live in Perth, Western Australia. So pretty much 8 UTC plus. We just. Yeah, that's where I am. That's why the time difference is 12 hours ahead. What do I do? I stream on Twitch. I've been streaming since April 2019.
Nice.
And that was when Twitch was very much a sparse land, when there wasn't a lot of people around. So, just kind of been progressing from there. So, that's pretty much in a nutshell of what I've been doing and where I am.
So I imagine for most Pokemon Go people, mm-hmm. when they think Australia, they're going to think Zoe. Where are you in relation to Zoe?
Yeah, no,
That's like
Zoe's
the geographic definer.
So if you ever Google Perth, Western Australia, it's probably like the most isolated city in the world. So for me to get to Zoe, she lives in Newcastle, which is, for me to fly over to Sydney, it's a 5-hour flight, and then it's probably like, I'm going to say like 1 or 2 hour drive from Sydney to Newcastle, or like a train ride. So it's quite far away. She's on the other side. She's on the east coast. I'm on the west coast. For me to fly,
wow, okay.
Yeah, for me to fly to Sydney, it's 5 hours. For me to fly to Singapore, it's 5 hours. So if that gives you a rough idea.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. All right, that's awesome. So let's go back to when you first started streaming on Twitch. Twitch mm-hmm. was a very different place for Pokemon Go in 2019.
Oh yes,
It was very different. What was it like when you first started streaming? What was kind of the focus of what you were doing?
So I started streaming and there weren't a lot of people around. I'm thinking like, you've got Pope Dave, you got Pocket Monster Max, you had just a very much a handful.
Oh my god, Pocket Monster Max. Oh my god. That's right.
Yeah.
That's so funny. That's great.
And they were just the OGs that were there constantly plugging away. You would look at the viewer counts and just be like, what you see today is not what you saw back then. And when I decided to stream, it wasn't like a decision that I wanted to be like, yes, I want to be a streamer. It was just like, let's see if we can do this. It was just more like, oh, well, I play anyway. What's the difference of putting an overlay on my phone and just kind of recording it and just, if people want to chill out and ask questions, and kind of built up from there. So it wasn't it was actually, I decided to start streaming because one of my best friends, I've always said that he would be a perfect content creator. And he just had a lack of motivation. And I was just like, well, all right, how about I start and see how it goes? Like, not a big thing from my end. And then I'll help him along the way. And he's only really just started now. So it's taken me a year to encourage him to actually start content creation. And he's just like, oh yeah, I've been inspired. I'm like, oh, thank goodness. It's just taken so long.
Nice. So what's your relationship with the Pokemon franchise itself? Have you always been into Pokemon, or was Go kind of your introduction?
Pokemon. I grew up with Pokemon, so for all the Australians out there that would know this, is that when we woke up in the morning, Monday to Friday, and a little bit maybe Saturday, we always had cartoons in the morning. and it would be, I think there was a TV show called Cheese TV, and exactly at, I think it was either 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning, just before school started, that it would play Pokemon. So, and a lot of, obviously everyone would be eating their breakfast in the morning, watching Pokemon, then going to school, we'd talk about Pokemon. And so through that anime series, I really picked up a lot of that. I didn't have a Game Boy when I was younger or anything like that. It was just never something that I picked up. So I very much watched a lot of things. Being a younger sibling, I've got two older brothers, so I was mainly just like watching people play a lot,
Right.
as younger siblings do. Because you got player 1 control, player 2 control, and then there's no player 3 control. So it's just like just watching in the background. But yeah, no, that's how it pretty much started from there. And just. I suppose kind of ebbs and flows of things. I would say I'm pretty on top of the anime series. But,
nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm pretty much up to like even the Sword and Shield series that is currently in obviously coming out through in Japanese at the moment, that I'm going through all that. So I'm pretty up to date in regards to that. But like playing the actual game itself, I only played Red, I think, when I was in university, so that was only probably about 10 years ago.
Okay.
And that was in between class times. and then I just picked up Go, obviously in 2016, and I just borrowed my boyfriend's Switch like this year and played Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pikachu. So it's not like as extensive as others, but yeah, I dabbled here and there.
No, the Pokemon franchise itself is just so vast and so huge. I love hearing how different people engage with the franchise, because there's no right or wrong way, and there's no, it's very rare when you have someone that can bridge all the gaps of the Pokemon world, just because it's so huge.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of people that are like, yeah, I'm watching the anime. It's like, I love that. That's so great, because a lot of people have swung from Go to Sword and Shield, but the anime is kind of this weird gray area. Like even the TCG has picked up a lot of steam lately, with a lot of people crossing over, and even Go creators doing some TCG stuff.
Yeah, I've definitely
But
noticed
the anime, it's always like on its own. So it's exciting to hear that someone's watching it. I mean, Journeys is amazing. I love Journeys so much.
It's really well
it's
done.
So good.
Even what was it called? When he was in Alola, the one that just finished, it really took a different turn. You could see it, like, obviously everyone complained about the artwork in the beginning, but once you kind of got over the artwork,
it's so good. It's so good.
Had a few like odd themes, like they talked about death, like even just like a Pokemon that passes away, what happens, because that's never come up before. And just like other things as well. I was just like, oh, they've gone real deep in this series. Like, if people actually watched it, there's a lot of credit there.
Yeah, no, it's definitely doing new things. And the art, whenever the art changes, there's always an adjustment period. But like you said, once you give it a shot and you get through it and you start seeing the art for surface value, I love the art in the new series. Believe me, I've watched all the anime. I've watched everything, but this is definitely it's some of the best stuff that's ever been made, in my opinion. So it's really, really good stuff. But let's talk about Go. What personally, what are your favorite ways to play the game? I mean, are you into raiding, shiny hunting, PvP, like camera on, camera off? What are you typically how are you engaging with the game?
Usually I call myself a generalist. So basically I play the game. So when there's obviously community days, events, things like that, I will play that. If I'm bored and I've gotten really not much on, then I'll probably just walk around the park. It's usually a nest of some sort, so I'll be like, oh, cool. Like at the moment, my local park is a Teddy Ursa nest, so I might just go for a walk, stream for an hour or a bit, which is usually my normal walk anyway. So that's usually fine. At the moment now, because of the, I suppose, change in the style of, I suppose, the now environment of streaming, that we've moved on to, or not moved on, but basically dabbled more into PvP. Now that GBL is much more accessible to be, at a sitting station. I don't mind walking outside and getting out there in the rough. It's usually, I come home with wet socks because it's raining. But now it's like, it's pretty comfortable to sit in front of a computer and do some of my GBL sets and have a chat. So It kind of changes as we go along. Obviously, I'm still happy to do outdoor streaming, but really it's weather dependent. And now that community days are so long, they're 6 hours. I really don't want to walk for 6 hours. So
I don't think you're alone there. I mean, that's a long day. That's a long day.
I think we got which day was it that I almost got up to like 100 Weedle or something like that of shinies because we just kept playing until the entire season. I'm like, I don't need 100 Weedle. They all got transferred to my Let's Go Eevee game, but I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how I play.
No, that's great because I've seen some of your content with focusing on PvP, and it seems like you have fun. And sometimes that's not necessarily a thing that's tied to PvP all the time. You know what I mean?
There's let's be honest. There's a lot of negativity around PvP. And obviously there's the current problems with PvP GBL at the moment. There's internal war. I'm just going to put it that way. Right. Within that aspect. But I kind of just put it aside and being like, look, let's just step away, look at it as a whole, stop being so emotional about it, and just kind of do what we can with it. Play with the cards that we're dealt with here. And people get angry about certain things. They're like, oh, grass hole, X, Y, Z.
I know, I've been seeing that so much, the grass hole line.
And I was just like, look, the grass hole line's not that difficult to take down, but it's just the fact that I think, I don't know, like people get very emotionally tied to it, and I try not to get within that. So I just like, look, bring in a team that you enjoy. At the moment, I suppose I've been coined the person that uses charmers or the person that uses fairies. Like my current team and lineup is with it's with fairies. It's a bit odd. People call it spicy. I just call it fun. So we're just kind of like, I like using cute characters. I'm like, go, yay, Clefable, yay.
Oh, that's so great. And something that my community does, and we try to keep it light too. So we'll run weekly tournaments on our Discord, and of course, we'll have 1 week where it's everyone's sitting up straight, and we'll do a ranked Sylph Cup.
Yes.
But then we'll do something really stupid where the meta is absolutely ridiculous, like Pokemon with mustaches or something, where it's just people having fun or being silly, or a meta where we had some really inappropriate metas, where you had to explain why you pick certain Pokemon. We have a lot of fun with it, and it's it's still competitive as hell. Even if I'm playing with some stupid Pokemon, it's still competitive, and it's I love that aspect of PvP. And I don't think that has enough representation online. So it's when I see you doing this type of stuff in your content, it's very refreshing, because it's all right, this is I can watch this. I'm not gonna rack my brain, or my mind isn't gonna melt or explode from all the other craziness of PvP. This is just fun to watch, and it's I dig that. So yeah, good on you. But
it's just a lot of people take it way too seriously, and that's okay. I think if you're aiming for the top, if you want to be the very best, that's fine as well. But I think a good majority of people that actually play the game don't expect themselves to be there, and I just want to help them as well. Just kind of be like, hey, it's PvP may look scary, but it's not too scary. Just kind of roll with it and see how you go.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with social media as well, because when you go on Twitter, you end up seeing these same names interacting in the PvP space, and it's very hard to. But then you also have this really cool thing, and I was just on Twitter 2 seconds ago, and I saw someone had battled Valorash and took a screenshot and posted, and they were like, "Dude, thank you so much for the battle. # huge fan. # thank you." It was so cool, but It can be very intimidating, because you see everyone mixing it up on Twitter, and it's then you end up battling them. It's a unique community. I love it. I wouldn't want it any other way. It's definitely awesome. But let's talk about the platform. So Twitch versus YouTube. I mean, this is always something that comes up. What do you use to actually stream? What type of phone do you have?
So my original phone last year was a Samsung 6. And that's what I used when I was initially when I did my first streams on Twitch. So I looked into YouTube. I even have like a Sony Alpha and like a Gorilla tripod. Like, if you think classic Pogo YouTuber, like that setup, I probably have that somewhere in my house, but it's just collected dust because I'm just like, I can't do it. I can't go outside with this camera trying to do like these selfie kind of vlogs. I tried, I did a few, and I watched them and was like, this is so not natural, just because I feel like I'm putting something on. And then when then I was just like, just looking around going, look, if I had to live stream on YouTube, what do I need to do? And I think the barrier of entry was just a little bit too hard or too much. And I was like, look, okay, well, there's Twitch. And I just kind of had a dabble, looked around, and that's why I chose that. It was just easier at the time. And, just live streaming just was like, well, and plus, like I said, there was a bit of a, like wasteland back then. So if I had the opportunity to get it wrong, which a lot of people don't have that now, because
that's a great point.
Yeah, so I could trial things out. I could try out going, I could try this layout, I'll try this format, or try this app and software. So I had a lot of playtime to do that. Now, I suppose, yes, obviously there's a lot of help around, but there's not really a way that you can figure out, like, what program works with you, what gels with you the most, and not that there's, not that everyone like is the same, but it's just more the fact that it doesn't really give you allows that creativity to kind of find what works for you. So yeah, I could have that. So I don't, regret that at all. Like, I know like some people jumping in now and then like, they're getting 100 followers straight away. Whereas, it took me 3 months for my first month, or like, I forgot how, like, just to even get affiliate, I think it took me a month. Whereas people were telling affiliate pretty much overnight. So it's, it was a different time back then.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique space, and I think in 2019 YouTube had changed their policy on live streaming, and I believe that before, I think in like 2018 and earlier, anyone can live stream on the channel, but I think they changed it to where you had to have like 1,000 subs.
Yes, I think
live stream, and that cut off so many creators that they just couldn't stream anymore. It was a total bummer. And are you streaming natively to Twitch, or are you using something like Streamlabs, or like what are you using to actually get the content from the phone up to Twitch?
Yeah, I use 2 programs. So I usually use DU Recorder. So I have that as my main one, and then I'll actually use Streamlabs on top, just as a not actually active, but just using it as the chat box, so I can actually see what's the Twitch chat feed coming through. So
interesting. That
works well for me, which is actually the reverse format with a lot of others. They would actually have Streamlabs up and then DU Recorder on top for their Facecam. But since I don't use Facecam, I've done it the other way. But the reason why is that Australian internet is absolutely rubbish. And so what happens is that our internet just cuts really quickly. If you use Streamlabs purely, unless you're in the city, you'll be fine. But if you're walking up and around, you will get cut pretty much every half an hour, that your stream will stop and then you'll need to restart again, which is fine.
Wow.
I suppose if you've got a strong following and a strong channel, but if you're starting out, it is heartbreaking sometimes.
Wow, that's wild.
But like I said, I had time to experiment with that, where some people won't. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, even like I forget. We've had Pope Dave on the show a couple times, and
yes,
forget like when he actually first started, but it was way early. Yes. Way early. Like, it's wild to look at the landscape of Twitch right now when it comes to Pokemon Go, especially from PvP perspective, compared to what it was, back in the day when there was like, you would look at the game under the game's title and it'd be like, 13 viewers or something like that total on the entire game. It's like, it's wild, where things come, how far things have come.
Was when GBL was down for a week and everyone didn't know what to do.
Yeah, what do we do?
They were just like, just twiddling their thumbs. They were just like, what do I stream? What do I do? I'm just like, guys, come on. You're more than just a GBL player. You're more than that. Like, you know, although you kind of hold yourself into that, like, you know, people want to see you.
Yeah, that's a lot of the challenge of being a streamer, I'd imagine, is you're building that personality, like the people need to come to see you. It's like you know, whether you're doing one thing or another, that's great. So speaking in that regard, I mean, what can viewers expect from your content, like watching you do some GBL matches or watching you you know, just play or you know, when you're out and about, like is there a specific vibe or sentiment that you try to get across in your content?
I think it's more just positivity. I think that would be like, if I was going like an overarching value of what we try and put out there. I think it's more inclusiveness. We have a lot of people that come in because their communities aren't there for them, or they've been excluded or anything like that. So it's been really nice to just help people out. I think what people expect is just kind of like, I use the term chill vibes, but yeah, just kind of like something there for them that they can interact. Like, you know, I do read everything from chat. I just like, you know, answer questions where we can. I suppose there's no pretense of, you know, oh yes, we're going to be expecting high level content. I never expect high level content on my stream. I always use the term of casual play, and people are like, Debbie, you're not casual. I'm like, I'm very casual. What are you talking about? They're like, you duoed Articuno the other day. I'm just like, yeah, but that was casual. What are you talking about?
Yeah, filthy casual. That's the real term.
We have that as a Nightbot coming up every now and then. So yes, it is in there.
That's awesome. No, that's great. And you know, one of the reasons that I definitely wanted to have you on was because I want to surround myself with a diverse group of creators that focus on this positive vibe and focus on, you know, that sentiment, because I want that energy in my life, you know? So it's like, whenever I find a creator that I know that's part of what they do, you know, that's awesome. It's like, and that's when I'm like, oh, that's who I want to be, you know, associated with and partner with and do some work with. So
my pleasure,
I absolutely, you know, jumping around through your content, you know, and watching a little bit of this video, a little bit of that, I definitely felt that. And, you know, that's something that I'm always looking for in a creator, because when people go sour and people go, you know, like if you're playing a character, it's one thing, you know, if you're going to be like the Dr. Disrespect, it's like, I understand, you know, playing the villain card and all that. But when you're not that person and you just watching a stream and you just can see that someone is being organic, and it's not like, you know, it's not a character, and they're not, you know, you're not, you know, it's like, if you're going to play a character, own it. I'm fine with that. But a lot of people play characters and then they don't own it. And it's like, you could see through that crap so quick in a live stream scenario. So it's like when someone's organic and, you know, it feels supernatural, and, yeah, that I could get what you're talking about, where you're like, hey, don't expect high level content. I'm a casual, but it's like, I was like, no, I'm gonna say no to that as well, because I know what you're doing. Like you got it. I see you. I see the plan. That's awesome. No, I really do, and especially when it comes to PvP. And I do want to talk about PvP here a little bit, because I think your content, it fits in the mix of the overall, you know, PvP content world, especially on Twitch, very, very well. Now, where do you think you kind of fit into that world? Because like we were just talking about, your content is a little bit different when it comes to PvP.
It is a little bit different. I suppose with PvP, I think when PvP first came out, or not even PvP, not GBL, and you know, it was just more like, okay, I'll just dabble. Like, I think I didn't even touch it. It was just more like, it was just a thing that was there. I'm like, well, there's no incentive. Oh yeah, I can do some battles against like the Spark or Candela or Blanche and get
right.
And maybe I'll get a rare candy. But yeah, it was just like, hate to say it this way, it was boring back then.
Sure.
And now I suppose it's developed into this vast, huge, changing community that I was just like, whoa, okay, like this has gone exponential in such a short time. It hasn't really had the chance to mature. But I suppose from my end, it's more going, well, okay, what is tangible? What can I work with? And what makes me happy? So I don't do PvP or GBL every day, or maybe I do, but it depends how I feel. I don't feel like I have to do it, where some people are like, oh, I need to do my sets today. I'm like, well, you don't have to.
The chore philosophy where you have certain chores in the game that you have to do every day. It's like, I hate that vibe. I hate that feeling.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to do something because I feel compelled to do it simply to finish it, not because I want to do it. It's like, ugh. Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah, so currently, like, with my PvP content, it's just more, like, I'm not at the rank where I think everyone now is like, oh, the high levels are probably like rank 8 or etching onto rank 9. I'm nowhere near that. I actually didn't play for the first 2 days when this season came out because I was just like, I'll let all the hardcore people go and leave me with the plebs, please. So...
I feel you so hard on that. I do the same thing. It's like, yeah, that'll be my luck. I'll rank 1 Caleb Peng. It's like, really? Come on.
When you see that, so like, funny. Rank 10 pose, you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
How dare you? How dare you be in rank 1 with me?
I know.
Get out of here.
Oh, here we go. I'll just quit. It's fine. Give you the W.
Yeah. Brings in a Bastio, you're like, fine.
Yeah.
Wall-faced again.
That's like, what do you think about the current state of PvP? I mean, even as a trainer, as a player, it's GBL's been a little wishy-washy lately. And being someone that does not do all my matches every day,
yes.
where I have this giant pool of experience with matches lately, but I did a couple sets today and did a couple sets yesterday, and there was probably 3 or 4 matches out of 20 or something like that that were like really bad, bad to the point of just totally shot and have to shut down and come back, and I lost. Where are you at with that, and how do you deal with that as a trainer and as a creator? Because I know that could be super frustrating, especially when you're trying to stream it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like, so how do you kind of approach that, and what are your feelings on where the game is at right now?
Look, there is obviously this ongoing issue. It's broke. The game's broke. Let's just put it that way. There's no dancing around that. That it really does need some sort of like hard, like software engineering, like someone to dedicate their lives to it for the next 6 months, something like that, to fixing it. Because it's just, I think it's. No, I don't think something that has come out on like mobile gaming has been this. It's a difficult situation. It's like, a spider web of just mess in that area. So when it's good, it's great. When you're playing and there's nothing going, like if everything's going right, it's a beautiful game to actually play. And you can see how people are just like, oh, I'd love it as an esport. But then, when you've got Pokemon like Worlds, and then you've got like, and you watched it last year, and then it was just like lagging, and people just, I was just like, this is embarrassing. If you're standing up and being like, representative of this, so of the current, when you're talking about the current state of the game, I've been having like yesterday, it was kind of okay. No, not yesterday. The day before, I was playing and it was okay. Yesterday we got hit with a lot of lag in the later streams, and it was frustrating. So I played I think I give myself about 3 games, and it's 3 games in a row that is really laggy and really bad. I'm just like, well, guys, we're just going to call GBL for the night. I'd rather not be frustrated on stream. That's not the vibe we're going for here. Like, I'm very Marie Kondo spark joy. So if this doesn't bring me joy, we're not doing it. We just kind of left it at that. And then I was just doing viewer battles. We're just chatting anyway. So I'm okay with that. I'm very good at pivoting when things aren't like going my way. I'm like, okay, how do we troubleshoot this? How do we work around it? How do we still achieve the goals that we want to still achieve? So I think that's a positive attribute for my character. But yeah, with the current state of things, I just hope that they just, get things done. Because, what was it? The Flying Cup that we were meant to have last Thursday. I planned out my day. Sure. I was like, yeah, cool. It's going to go 6 o'clock to midnight, 100 games. All right, we're going to, do our Pidgeys. I've got that already. Made my Emolga, did everything. And then, what was it? 6 hours before it's going to start, they cancelled it. Which I think was the right call. But obviously, I think that should have been made a bit earlier than, I think the New Zealanders only had 4 hours of warning or something like that. And then they were just I made my team.
That's something I definitely wanted to talk about. So what's the hour difference between New Zealand and Perth?
Probably about 4 hours. It will be 5 next week because there's daylight savings coming up.
Okay, so we all know that New Zealand always takes a beating.
Yes.
Unfortunately, they're the ones that just always have to deal with the most mess in the game. Yeah. And I'm on the East Coast of the States, so I mean I've at least got 12 hours plus to get it over here. I feel for everyone on that side of the world because I know that could be super challenging. But that the pivot thing is definitely interesting, and I think that definitely is an important arrow to have in the quiver when you're a streamer, because it's kind of like the freestyle, the freestyle rapper. You have to be on your toes. You have to be able to move with and ebb and flow with whatever's going on. And as a streamer, I mean, it's awesome and noble to say look, no, I don't want to lose my cool on stream. It's some people might go for that. You know what I mean? So there might be some channels where I've definitely I love this video series called Rage Quit on Rooster Teeth, where it's just some dude losing his mind over games. I love that, but that's great that you keep your focus and you're able to pivot away from GBL, because I've seen so many people put on 2-hour long streams just suffering through lag, and it's why are they doing this to themselves? It's just let it go. So that's definitely an interesting approach. So you said listener battles. What about Sylph? You ever mess with Sylph?
I have. So I was I've done some Sylph cups. Because in our local community, we have a group there, and then I also have my Girls at PvP in my lobby with Girls Play Rough, so I play with them. In regard to Sylph, in the last 6 months, I've been a little bit iffy, just because of work commitments and COVID and everything, so I haven't really been able to commit as much. Also the time difference as well with some of the girls in my lobby, which I love them, but some of them are European, and I'm just oh, okay, so your lunchtime, my 8 p.m, or and some of them Americans, so I'm your 8 p.m. is my 8 a.m. I'll battle you in the morning. So those are a little bit difficult. But generally I really enjoyed it. I got a bit burnt out when everything went very much when the requirement came lower. So it used to be Ultra Friends to battle, and now it's just you only need 1 heart to battle. So
right.
So then everyone was
a game changer.
Yeah, and everyone's oh, let's do these mega lobbies, and I got caught up in the hype of everything, and I was just oh, why am I doing 5 cups right now?
There was when that went down, I remember Go Stadium put together this massive 400 person lobby or something stupid, and it was just ridiculous. Everyone was going absolutely berserk because believe me, I manage a bunch of community tournaments, and the spreadsheets that I would have to update and manage. It was such a pain in the butt. I hope that never goes away. I really hope that never goes away. That was the greatest addition. What a quality of life thing.
Yeah.
It's take away anything else. Put everything else back. I don't care. We got to keep the good friend requirement.
And that's been really good, I think, in encouraging more people to come to Sylph as well, because just having, obviously with the whole distance and everything, over here it's fine, but everywhere else around the world, and plus it means that the community is brought together globally. It's been really cool to see these high level very talented lobbies, and just watching them, and I'm just whoa, okay, those were very well timed switches. Oh my goodness, this is all these head games. Oh, it's beautiful to watch.
There's nothing better There's nothing better than watching high level play, because then like when you could start to like see through the matrix, and see really like what's going on in real time. It's like, oh yeah, that person's counting moves. He's gonna swap someone right now, and you can just like telegraph it. It's like a symphony. I'm like conducting it. It's like, oh yes, this is divine. So great. That's so funny.
So that's definitely like one of the strongest positives for PvP is watching that high level. But like I said, not everyone's at that level. So it's but it's still beautiful to watch.
Give me a good shoutcaster. I'll watch anyone battle. just give me someone that's hyped up and knows what they're talking about, and I'm in 100%. That's great. But so going back to your channel, you do have a YouTube, and I saw that you archive your streams over to YouTube. Is that kind of the content that you have up there?
So my YouTube content.
But do you have other content like exclusive to YouTube though? Like, do you have stuff up there that's not that you don't do through Twitch? Not
really. I'm gonna put that out there. At the moment, my YouTube, I didn't even have a YouTube channel until maybe like 6 months ago. And that was like, I just, someone in our chat was just like, oh, do you have a YouTube channel? I'm just like, well, everything's here. Why do I need to have that? And they're like, oh, well, you can export stuff across. I was like, oh, yeah, I suppose I can just put highlights and things. So I was putting like a lot of like, shinies that were, because obviously being in Australia, we get events first. So I think one of my highest viewed videos is like when I got 2 Venonats in the first hour of when that became shiny and became available. So it really got a lot of traction because by the time it was uploaded and by the time it caught traction in the YouTube algorithm, obviously it came up for people that were like, oh, what's the latest shiny? What does it look like? And things like that. So I never really thought of it that way. But yeah, that kind of developed, and now I just put things up there just every now and then, like, oh, here's a shiny, or here's a really funny rage quit or something like that. Just little clippets of things, but not really like vlogs or me giving out information. I think that's already a pretty saturated market, but I mean, like, if people want that, then yeah. I'll just see how things go.
Nice. And how, so with the combination of GBL stuff that you're doing from, behind a desk mixed with the stuff, out and about, grinding, raiding, shiny hunting, that whole thing. What is it like in Perth? Like, what's the community like, and how is that community kind of adapted to, what's going on with the state of things? And I know Australia, it's very intriguing for me because here in the States we're morons and like this thing is not contained at all. And it's like, there's some parts of the world where it's just like, yeah, we're chilling. And, what's the current like state like for raid hour in Perth? Is there communities getting together outside?
Yeah, we are. So over here in Perth, I think, I don't even know what stage we're at, but basically I think we have like 10 cases within the whole state, and they're all in like hotel quarantine. So we're really, really lucky over here. You can go out, you can, like, if it's a 6-hour community day, you can go out for a walk for 6 hours and be with your friends and family and not have those like restrictions and issues. And barely anyone wears a face mask here because there's not much going on. Obviously when there's things appearing up and if people are more susceptible or they're sick, then they can wear a face mask, but it's not a hard recommendation. But this is all on the west coast. On the east coast of Australia, there's a few hotspots at the moment, so they've got tighter restrictions in certain states. So like at the moment, in Melbourne, it's currently a little bit better now, but I think they're in like stage 3 or something like that. So they had a big influx of COVID recently, so they are really on top of that and have the restrictions. Obviously, like 1 hour you're only allowed out to go out. I think there was a case where someone actually did play Pokemon Go and it was on the news in Melbourne.
Yeah,
they got fined.
We have someone from the Melbourne area that sends us those links, and there was 2 weeks in a row where he sent me news articles of people getting busted for playing Pokemon Go. And it was funny because in the news, report of it, it was like, they were talking about like some serious crimes, people getting busted, and then Pokemon Go. And it was like, it just sounded so silly. But then like the next week he sent me another one, and it was like, 11 separate cases or something of people getting busted for playing Pokemon Go or getting pulled over, when they're not supposed to be driving. And it's like, yeah, they're playing Pokemon Go. It's like,
oh,
it's
come on,
so
be discreet,
funny.
people. Be discreet.
I know, they'll be riding dirty.
Stick to the rules, but be discreet if you're just kind of like swinging by a gym. But yeah,
are there no driving with a mobile phone? Are the laws strict?
The laws are super. Yeah, the laws are super strict here. We actually got our driving and fine. I think it's $1,000 fine if you're held with your phone.
Wow.
And I think it's like a 4 demerit points or something like that. So it's actually quite significant in regards to phones. So there's been probably like a more of an influx of catching devices such as like Pokeball Plus and things like that we probably had an influx through. But like in our area, it's been really good. Our community is super strong. Everyone is really helpful. And, we try and even help out the little kids that kind of like, oh, can you help me with a Reshiram raid? And we're like, yeah, right. So,
absolutely.
We, in our small community, every raid hour, everyone's there. So everyone like that needs that particular mon, they know Wednesdays at 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock that we're always at this location. So if you need that mon, if you need to be remoted in, if you're sick, let us know. If you want to be there in person, let us know. You can use your free raid pass, or if you banked one from the day before, you can do 2 with us. But there's usually like a group of us that would do at least 5 or like a minimum of 2, what we call a casual 2.
Casual too.
yeah. Just do my casual 2 Articunos today. So yeah, we have that. So then people know going, okay, well, if I'm at home or, if I got kids or whatever, like, there is that particular time local to you that they could drive like 5 to 10 minutes and just get there. Or like I said, remote raid in. So yeah, no, it's a really strong community. I'm very lucky to have this community. I don't think I could be where I would be with my channel without the community help, because obviously like I don't power up stuff, so I'm a filthy pleb when it comes to this. They're like, why is your Rampardos only in like 2000 CP? I'm just like, don't look at me.
Don't judge me.
It's like, Debbie, you have like 5 million dust. I'm like, don't look at me.
That's great. You never really consider vlogging. It's just not for you.
Oh,
I would love to see this.
I think I would like to try again like someday, but at the moment I'm just kind of happy where I am. I think, yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. I need to like research a bit more. I think the editing portion is really the thing that puts me off, but I'm sure I can probably ask a few people and be like, hey, what's the editing software? What do I need to do?
Yeah. But, editing is rough. That changes everything. That's the streaming. It's like, I'm done. I pack up at the end of the night, turn everything off. Good night. Thank you. Good night.
Exactly right. I turn it off, I go to bed. But yeah, I give all credit for those that do it. It's definitely like a part-time job. Where I'm taking this as a hobby. I've got a full-time job. I've got like 2 businesses that I run. Like, it's just like I don't have time to sit down and edit. So if I were to be at that level, I would almost need to like be at a point where I could like offload that to someone and just be like, hey, can I just buy some raid passes for you? Or something, I don't know. But yeah,
yes.
It'd be more along those lines. I'm like, and then you got to consider like, different types of like filming as well. Just, yeah, there's a lot to think about in regards to that. And I just feel like I don't have the energy or capacity right at this moment. Maybe down the future, but we'll see how it goes.
No, that makes a ton of sense. It's like, yeah, that a lot of the streamers that I've spoken with have said, or especially people that do streaming and produce content, they say, oh, there's nothing quite like, finishing a stream and just being able to be done with that piece of content. Like, you're done. Like, yep. No post-production, nothing. It's just like you're truly and finished. They're like that. That's a solid, that's a glorious thing for sure. Definitely. Yeah. But what about, have you collaborated with any other, have you met Zoe? Have you ever talked to Zoe? I mean, have you collaborated with any other Go creators?
I have actually seen Zoe, but I didn't approach her because I was too scared.
Oh my God, Zoe!
She's a pocket rocket, and I was just like, no, she's busy, she's vlogging, she's doing her thing. I was in Sydney once, and there was like a meetup of like, I think there was like a Sydney PvP tournament or something like that, and I was just there, and I'm just kind of like, you know what? No, she's over there. She's doing her thing. Brandon Tan's doing their thing, and I'm just going to be here and just kind of like play some PvP with like the locals in Sydney. I literally just got off I was at the airport, and I think I left at 4:00, and then the PvP tournament started at 6, so I still was carrying my suitcase, and yeah, so they were there, and this is the time where I wasn't streaming, so I was just kind of like, oh, this is cool to see, and just see, like, I'm very much an introvert, so it was more like, oh yeah, okay, this is nice. All right, I'm done now. Okay, I fulfilled my requirement that I needed. But yeah, in regards to what things are now, we do have the Aussie Go Squad, which is some Australian content creators as a group. So recently, when we had GoFest, we kind of did a bit of collaboration, like, retweeted each other's tweets and made sure that when people were going through the time zones, that because you've got the East Coast that is about 2 hours ahead of myself, then you got South Australia, which is 1.5 hours ahead, so everyone was just carrying their viewers to each person as the time zones went.
That's fantastic.
So me being on the West Coast, I was like the last person to receive everyone, so that was really nice. So yeah, it's been really cool. And now that things are flourishing, and yeah, just people saying hi, I'm like, oh, hello, I've seen your content, this is really nice, hi, how you going?
That's super cool. Yeah, it's so funny you said the suitcase thing. It brought me back to GoFest 2018, where I got off the plane and took the train to the Airbnb. Adam, my co-host on Lured Up, gets off the plane, takes the train to the Airbnb, but we meet up outside and we have our suitcases. We're like, we got to get some food. And we walk to go eat, and we run into Brandon Tan, DX1, Glenn, and Omar from Secret League, like a bunch of people. Yeah. And we ended up doing 15, 20 raids. And we still had our suitcase. I'm dragging my suitcase right off the plane. I was like, dude, is this how it's going to be the whole time, where we're just going? I mean, that's how it was. Yep. But that was so funny. That brought me back to that memory. That's crazy.
Yeah. There's nothing more annoying than having that suitcase and then you're just going through and with cobblestones or things like that, and you're just kind of like, I just need to get to I'm being dragged down by my own things.
I'm just dragging it sideways. The wheels aren't even rolling. I'm just dragging it along the ground. It's hilarious. That's great. That's so funny. But any plans or goals for 2020? I know this year has kind of been absolutely berserk, but anything you're hoping to accomplish before the end of the year? We're getting close.
Oh, look, it's hard. I think I'm not a numbers person. So when people just oh yeah, I want to reach 1,000 subs on XYZ, I'm just I'm not really a numbers person. I think for me, I just want to be consistent and just kind of make sure that it's still kind of carrying the same values that we want to create. I think sometimes people get lost in the game of content creation, going, oh, I need to get to partnership, I need this, I need that. I'm like, no, you don't need anything. You actually you need to focus on yourself and create realize
it's so refreshing. Oh, it's that sounds so good to hear. It's yes. You're absolutely right, Debbie. I agree with you 100% on that. No, it really is important, and it is very easy to get lost in the numbers. And, we've talked about it a lot lately on this show of the whole human element, and remembering that whether it's content or the game itself or whatever, there's humans that are powering all this. So it's if you're not taking care of that core part of this deal, the human part, it's whoa, you gotta slow down. You gotta take a step back.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just that's great to not want to give up on that. That's holding consistent on those values is, that's super noble, and that's phenomenal. That's something that I would get behind 100%.
It's just it's very easy to just sit in front of a computer, stream for 2 hours, do your GBL sets, and walk away. But I feel what are you my kind of thing is always what legacy are you leaving behind? What are you are you inspiring someone else? Are you actually motivating someone else, or creating positive energy out there? I'm very much okay, what you put into the ether will come back to you eventually. So it's more of that aspect, and that's kind of in regards to what goals. It's not really a goal. It's more of a ever changing but because the everyday changes, but it's more of a value to hold and just, not get caught up in he said, she said, and all the egos that are out there. It's just more about like, hey, this is my thing, and, you know, I'm going to keep with my thing and stay in my lane. That's pretty much it.
That's phenomenal to hear. And, you know, that's reminiscent of a talk I had with Billy from the Trainer Club. And, you know, he is, you know, in regards to his content, it's very straight and narrow. Like it is his content. Like he said that to me, and he's, and he's a very huge firm believer in like that energy transfer. And like, he's, you know, we've had some really awesome off the air conversations about it too. And, you know, hearing you talk like this, it's like, yeah, these are fundamentals that, especially with, you know, I'm an older dude, so it's like, especially with some of these younger creators that are like super young, early 20s, and they're crushing it. But being in that space that young and having all this stuff happen, it's crazy. I can't imagine dealing with life through that. Yeah. So it's like, maintaining that understanding of, you know, retaining positivity and making sure that things stay level and balanced is
just checking in every now and then.
You know, checking in on yourself is a good old thing. That's a good idea. I hope everyone listening right now just takes a moment to check in on themselves and your friends, because
it's a crazy time. That's, and I think
it's such good vibes though.
You get a lot of people coming in and that are looking for help, or just even companionship, or just someone to talk to. And I think, it's great when you, and don't get me wrong, I am all for 100% for these big energy, like, you know, personalities, but I'm not like that. And I know a lot of people aren't like that. So sometimes like you just need someone to just vibe, chill with, check in, calm everything down, that there is some sort of peace in the world. My little corner of peace is what I call my stream. That people can just know that what they're going to get is what they're going to get. And they just go like, okay, yeah, Deb's streaming. She'll probably just talk about random stuff and then do her GBL battles. That's about right. So that's pretty much it.
That's awesome. That's great. That's so fantastic. But Debbie, this has been an awesome time. I learned a lot, and thank you so much for coming on the show. I definitely appreciate it. It's been great.
Again, my pleasure. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, everyone, this has been an episode of the Lured Up Podcast Creator Series. Make sure you check out luredup.com for everything that we have going on with the show, PokemonProfessor.com for everything that's going on with the network. Our merch store is up, PokemonProfessor.com/merch. Check that out. We've got some cool fanny packs coming this week, new designs. So exciting. Definitely check that out. Yes, fanny packs are good, and I put hand warmers in there for the winter because it gets to like 0 degrees. Yes. So it's like, it's always good to have some heating stuffs with you here in Jersey, because it gets pretty cold. But definitely check that out. And of course, links to everywhere you can find DebbiePebble will be in the description. But Debbie, why don't you let our community know where they can find you?
Oh, yep, easy. It's on twitch.tv/DebbiePebble, or on Twitter, same thing again, twitter.com/DebbiePebble. That's me.
Awesome. Well, all right, everyone. Thank you so much. And Debbie, thank you once again for coming on the show. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, folks, keep training trainers. We'll see you next week.